There is no one else on the internet that is going to teach you what I'm teaching you. Once you do that, that's when you'll physically manifest the good that you desire and the good that you deserve. Hey goal achievers, it's Coach Justin here. And if you've clicked on this video, it's probably because you've tried visualization, you've tried writing out your goal, and you've even tried screaming positive affirmations in the mirror. But that steady business growth, that next level of abundance and true emotional freedom, it hasn't quite shown up yet. And deep down, you might even be thinking to yourself, does manifestation work for me? But here's the truth. These principles work for everyone, everywhere, every time. You just have to understand how to apply it. Today, I'm going to show you why your manifestations keep falling flat and the forgotten step in creating real, tangible results. If this is your first time watching, welcome. My name's Justin Grimer. I've been a mindset coach for 8 years. I've worked with over 2,000 clients, and I was business partners and good friends with Bob Proctor for over 6 years. On this channel, I show you how to actually implement the principles of success and master your mindset to create real tangible results. To become a master manifester, we must understand that there's 3 simple steps to manifestation. And in fact, it's going to be step 3, which I believe has become the forgotten step, which I'm going to take a deep dive into today, which is going to help you close the gap between visualizing, affirmations, and actually living the life that you want to live. So let's go over the 3 steps. Step 1, you've got to know where you are. Now, this might sound like a very obvious thing to say, but I speak to hundreds of people every single week, and a big hurdle that's holding most people back is lack of self-awareness. Now, in this step, you've got to sit back, you've got to drink some truth serum, and you've got to really ask yourself, what are my strengths? What are my weaknesses? What am I really good at? What are my beliefs around business? What are my beliefs around earning money? Now, I want to give you a very powerful example of how important this step really is. Last year, I was working with a coach named Shonemoto, and his income ranged between about $3,500 a month to $10,000 a month. Now, just to give you a little bit of context, and you can look him up on social media, this guy has literally millions of followers on YouTube and millions of followers on Instagram. So the opportunity that was in front of him, so his marketplace and his income, there was a massive disconnect. And about 4 or 5 weeks into the coaching, I sat down with him and we were reviewing his new self-image statement of the person he wanted to become to achieve his goal. And through a combination of knowing about his circumstances and the fact that we chatted a couple of times, it very much piqued my interest that in his new self-image statement, he hadn't written anything about money. So I put him on the spot a little bit when I was coaching him, and I said to him, why isn't there anything about your new elevated relationship with money? And he replied to me, he said, because I have great beliefs around money. And I really challenged him on his belief. And I said to him, you don't need to accept what I'm telling you now. Just hear me out, right? Jump off the call, have a think about it, right? And then we can jump back on another call. And if you want to discuss it further, we can discuss it further. Now, just for a little bit of context, the reason why I do that when I'm coaching someone is a lot of the time, when we're given an idea that doesn't match our current belief system, it can be very difficult for us to accept instantaneously, right? If you're 30 years old, you have 30 years of thinking, acting, and believing the same way. If you're 70 years old, you have 70 years of thinking, acting, and believing the same way, and everything in between. When you're given a new idea, it's not just going to resonate with you instantaneously. So I said to him, jump off the call and have a little bit of a think about it, right? And then get back to me, whether it be later today or tomorrow or in a week. I said, it's up to you. So he calls me in a couple of days and we jump back on another call, and I explained to him just between his results and his potential marketplace and how he's showing up and what he's earning, I didn't believe that he had great beliefs around money. And we go deeper, and I'm not going to share too much personally with him, but we broke down all the layers, and in the end he was like, you're right. He said, I don't have great beliefs around money. So this is really focusing in on understanding, where am I? Over the next 6 months, I help Sho go from $3,500 to $10,000 a month in that range to $55,000 a month, purely from identifying and changing that one belief around money. His actions, there or thereabout, didn't change. His output, his team, his audience, nothing changed except the fact that he changed that one belief. This is how important having self-awareness around where you are is. Now, I can hear you asking, well, how do I do that, for example, if I don't have a coach? A very common exercise that I give if I'm helping someone but I'm not exactly coaching them step by step is I'll have them write out 3 areas of their life. Okay, so I've kind of discovered that there's 3 important areas to everyone in anyone's life. So area number 1, income, business, finances. Area number 2, health. And area number 3, relationships and friendships. And as what I get the person to do is they write down the 3 areas, then they write out in the present tense in as much detail how the present circumstance currently is in their life. Now, you want to remember when you're doing this exercise, this is no reflection of your potential or what you're capable of accomplishing, but it is a reflection of your current belief system and your current actions. So as what you do is you take the 3 areas of your life, you write out in as much detail what you're seeing in your life right now, and that is a direct reflection of what's going on inside of you. So it's all good to be confident, and it's all good to believe in yourself, and it's all good to have an elevated image of yourself, but you also want to take a look at your results and actually ask yourself, what are my results telling me? I cannot tell you how many people I meet who, yes, they have a confidence about them, which is great. I'm not dismissing confidence, whatever, but they're earning very little money in business, and they're fooling themselves. They're telling themselves that they have great beliefs around money. And there's a disconnect, right? How do you know what to work on if you don't actually know what the quote unquote problem or opportunity, whatever you want to call it, actually is? So step 1, you've got to know where you are. And if you really want to know where you are, all you need to do is write out your present circumstances in as much detail as possible, because the outside is a reflection of what's going on inside of us. Remember, nothing to do with our potential or what we're actually capable of doing, just everything to do with our current or past thinking and behaviors, which is getting us to where we are right now. Step 2 in the 3 steps of manifestation is, where do I want to go? Okay, this is the fun part. This is the part that most people stop at. It's our goals and our vision. Now, the first thing in this step is we do want to understand that there's a difference between our goal and our vision. So let's start with the goal. First off, it doesn't matter what area of our life this is in. For the sake of this exercise, I'm going to use finances because most people are watching this to increase their income. A goal is something that must be measurable and tangible. I cannot tell you how many people I meet who come to me, business owners, people who are working 9 to 5s and everything in between, and I ask them, what's your goal? And their goal is, well, my goal is to earn more money, right? Or my goal is to service more people, or my goal is to be the best ABC. It's very important to remember that this is not a goal. A goal in its pure definition is something that must be measurable and tangible, and the reason why that is because whether it be week to week, month to month, or quarter to quarter, you want to be able to measure how much you're earning compared to your goal, and you want to see if you're progressing or regressing towards your goal. And basically is what I get my clients to do. I work off the basis of a great Napoleon Hill quote, which is that anything that the mind can conceive and believe it will achieve. We can conceive something on an intellectual level, we believe something on an emotional level, and we achieve it on the physical level. And as basically is what Napoleon Hill is saying when he said that quote, is you want to break everything down to the ridiculous and pick a number that your mind is able to conceive. So let me give you a little bit of an example. If someone is earning $100,000 a year, okay, and they set a goal of earning $500,000 a year, the chances of them actually believing that goal is very, very small. As what I have my clients do, you have your goal of $500,000. A lot of people break their goal up into a monthly goal. I'll use round numbers. That would come to $40,000 a month. Still a very big idea to conceive for most people. So as what I have all of my clients do is break their yearly goal up into a weekly goal. So it would look like, I'm so happy and grateful now that I'm earning a minimum of $10,000 a week, and I love it as my bank account keeps going up and up and up. And all you have to do to arrive to that number is take your annual income goal and divide it by 52. Now, your vision is something a little bit different, okay? Your vision, you want it to be filled with emotional. Now, your vision is something a little bit different. Your vision, you have written out at the top of your page what you want, which is your measurable and your tangible goal. Then your vision should consist of why do you want it? The number one mistake I see most people make when they're writing out a vision is they write what they want, which is their measurable and tangible goal, and then they write out how they're going to get it. And when we write out what we want and how we're going to get it, it is super intellectual. See, when we write out what we want, which is the measurable and tangible goal, and why we want to achieve it, this is where we tap into our emotional mind. And we want to remember, our subconscious mind is our emotional mind. Write this down. My why is my leverage. My why is my direct path to my subconscious mind. And it's important to remember that my why and your why may be very different. So I can share very openly, my whys are generational wealth, providing for my family, my partner, and my 11-month-old daughter, and sharing these principles, sharing the laws of the universe and the principles of success with the world. Now, your whys might be different. You might be your own why, or a certain lifestyle might be your why, or you might have a dream house, or you might have a dream car. As what I'd like you to do is take a little bit of time. You can rather pause this and do the exercise now, or you can listen to it back on record and you could do it a little bit later, is sit down and ask yourself, what are my whys, right? What is the fire under my feet? What is it that is really going to get me out of bed in the morning? That is really going to help me tap into my emotional mind? And you write this out in a vision. Now, your vision should be written consisting of your what you want and why you want it. It should be in the present tense. So when I say that, I say you should not be writing one day I will, okay? Your subconscious mind only knows the now. So you should write, I'm so happy and grateful now that. And you should also make sure you're using the positive verbiage, not the negative verbiage. And I'll give you a silly example. I see a lot of people write no bad vibes, where you want to write good vibes only. So you want to make sure the verbiage in which you're writing your vision is always clearly stating what you want, not what you don't want. And then a last little point on the vision, keep it about a page long. I've had people come to me and they have a vision which is literally 15 or 20 pages long. And the truth is, okay, you need to write out your vision, you need to memorize it, you need to internalize it, you need to become it. That is when you'll physically manifest your goal. If your vision is 15 or 20 pages long, the chances of you actually writing it out, memorizing it, internalizing it, and becoming it are very, very short, okay? Where if it's a page long, it's short, it's sharp, it's filled with emotional words, the chances of you memorizing it, internalizing it, and becoming it are significantly higher. Now, step 3, the forgotten step in manifestation, who do I need to become to achieve my goal? Goal setting, which was step 2, is an essential piece to the creation process. However, the truth is the most unmotivated, lazy, most procrastination person, if that's even a word, in the world can set a goal. The achievement of the goal, the physical manifestation of the goal is an effect of the person that you become. So as what I see a lot of people do is a lot of people evaluate where they are and a lot of people evaluate where they want to go, and they visualize their goal all day long, every day screaming positive affirmations in the mirror. However, they're never working on the person they need to become to achieve their goal. Their self-worth, self-esteem, self-image, their confidence, their action steps, the time that they wake up in the morning, all of those tiny little wins of the person you're becoming that compound into being the big wins over a period of time. Now, I can hear you saying, let's say, for example, if you're watching this right now and you're earning $100,000 a year and your goal is $500,000 or $1 million, I can hear you saying, well, how am I meant to know the action steps of someone who is earning $500,000 a year or $1 million a year if I've never earned it? You don't need to. As what you need to do is you need to go back to the lesson that I gave you in step 1, where you take your finances, you take your personal health, and you take your relationships and your friendships, and you've written out in as much detail the present circumstances that you're currently experiencing. Then you take that exercise from step 1, okay? You take a highlighter and you highlight all the non-productive thinking and the non-productive behaviors in that category. So let's say, for example, if we're talking about income and you've written down, my income is up and down. Just like Shonemoto, my income is inconsistent. One month I'm earning $3,500 a month. The other month I'm earning $10,000 a month. I'm breaking promises to myself. I'm inconsistent. I'm letting the results control me. These are all non-productive beliefs, non-productive behaviors. We can call them habits. And once you've gone through that sheet and you've highlighted all the non-productive beliefs and non-productive behaviors, grab a separate piece of paper and write them down. Literally list them. What are you doing when you do this? This step 1 ties into step 3. You have your greatest opportunity of growth right in front of you. It's literally written down on paper what is holding you back. Then is what you do, for example, with the finances, you take 2 or 3 of the habits, okay, that are most pressing, that are most important, and you write it out in the polar opposite, the way you would like to see the situation. I'll give you a little bit of an example. Could you imagine you've written out, I'm constantly sleeping in. One day I'm really good and one day I'm bad. My consistency is horrible. I'm always breaking promises to myself. Well, what is the polar opposite to that? You write out, I'm so happy and grateful now that I wake up at 5 a.m. every morning, full of energy and full of life. The first thought that comes to my mind is, today's going to be a great day. Today's going to be an amazing day. My word is my bond. Every time I give myself a command, I follow it. And every time I follow that command, I'm building trust. Discipline is something that is becoming easier and easier and easier every single day. Now, I just made that up off the top of my head, but that is the polar opposite to what is holding this person back in this example. Then the work is in the implementation of your self-image statement. You take that self-image statement, you write it out in the present tense, the same as step 2, all of our affirmations, all of our goals, all of our vision, always in the present tense, and you use that statement as your greatest accountability partner. You use that statement, you say, this is who I am. Now, is what I want to do is I want to grab my whiteboard quickly and I want to show you what happens when all you do is focus on step 1 and step 2 and you don't implement step 3. Okay, I want to teach you something that's extremely important, and please bear with me with the graphics, and my team will do a good job at editing out what shouldn't be here, but I promise you, if you pay attention for the next 2 minutes or 3 minutes, there is no one else on the internet that is going to teach you what I'm teaching you, and it is a massive gap between what most people aren't doing, which is why they stay stuck earning the same income, living in the same physical body, and not creating the life that they want to create. So be patient with me. I want you to look at this graphic, and I want this graphic to be a visual representation of your mind. And in the top half of the semicircle, we have our conscious mind, and in the bottom half of our semicircle, we have our subconscious mind. Now, for a little bit of context, your conscious mind is your thinking mind, it's your intellectual mind. Right now, this information is going from my conscious mind to your conscious mind. And the conscious mind controls about 2 to 4% of our results, perceptions, and behaviors. Your subconscious mind is your emotional mind. It is your universal mind. Your subconscious mind controls 96 to 98% of your results, perceptions, and behaviors. So you will manifest the life that you want to live when you effectively begin to turn the ideas over to your subconscious mind. Now, in your subconscious mind is stored your paradigm. I just want to give you a little bit of a briefing. Paradigm, habit, thermostat, conditioning, self-image are all different words for the same thing. Now, your paradigm is a multitude of habits stored in a section of your subconscious mind that has almost exclusive control over your habitual behavior. Your paradigm controls your confidence. Your paradigm controls your productivity, your effectiveness. Your paradigm controls your income, your decision making, all stored in your subconscious mind. Now, for the sake of this example, I'm going to be showing you what most people do, okay? Most people, they go step 1, they figure out where they are, okay? Not very well, but they do step 1. Then they do step 2, they figure out where they want to go, and they spend all day, every day, visualizing their goal. They do affirmations, they do auto-suggestion, just they go bang, 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 just like this. They're spending all day, every day, constantly trying to get emotionally involved with their goal. However, if we do not shift our paradigm, this is very, very important, right? If we don't do step 3, if we don't spend a considerable amount of time, I tell all of my clients, you want to spend 5% of the time thinking of your goal and 95% of your time thinking of the person you want to become. Because as what happens, if all you do is visualize your goal, is all you do is think about your goal, your paradigm will kick your goal out of your subconscious mind. Just like this, reverse. Maybe I should have used a different color, but you get the point. Now, for you to be able to manifest effectively, is what you need to do is you need to simultaneously plant the idea of your goal and your new self-image at the same time. Once you do that, that's when you'll physically manifest the good that you desire and the good that you deserve.